Hello and welcome to Rockville Academy online video lectures. Today, class 9, I am going to teach you a chapter on the Mughal Empire. Though last time in our WhatsApp class group, I did forward you some modules regarding the Mughal Empire. I have sent you some videos on the Taj Mahal, the Red Fort, the Jama Masjid for you to understand, but I don't think so I will be doing justice to you just by forwarding those modules. I felt it is absolutely necessary for me to explain the Mughal Empire chapter 2. So here I am today. I am going to not only explain about the Mughal Empire, but we are going to stick to the ICSE reduced syllabus for class 9. If you just check your syllabus from the Mughal Empire chapter, though the chapter is very long and very vast, yet there are some few topics that you need to study. The first one is you just need to study the sources, right, to reconstruct the Mughal Empire. And in the sources, first one we have to start N.A. Akbari, which is a literary source. Literary source meaning it is a book which gives us enough light on the Mughal Empire. So we will learn about N.A. Akbari, and in the architectural sources we will study the three main monuments today, starting from Jama Masjid, the Taj Mahal, and we will end with the Red Fort. Maybe today's session will not allow me to complete the entire chapter. That is why I have decided to divide the chapter into 2 sessions. And in today's session, I will be giving you a very brief background about the Mughal Empire. I will go to the N.A. Akbari and finish it off with the Jama Masjid. Now, if you turn to your textbook, right, in the Mughal Empire, which is chapter 9, let's first look at the objectives. In this chapter, we will learn about, now in the reduced syllabus, we just have to look at the first point, sources to reconstruct the history of the Mughal Empire. And we don't have to study all the sources which are mentioned in the chapter. Let me repeat and remind you once again, you are not expected to study the entire sources, just 4. Alright? Now, let's look at the introduction of the Mughal Empire. The Mughal period was considered a glorious period of the Muslim rule in India in comparison to the Delhi Sultanate. As and when you flip the pages of the chapter, the monuments, the writings, the inscriptions itself will tell you that the Mughal period in India was indeed a glorious period. A glorious period in terms of art, architecture, literature, music, in every form. It was founded by Babur. The main person who actually started the Mughal Empire was Babur, when he defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the first battle of Panipat in 1526. Babur started an illustrious empire and it reached its zenith under the grandson Akbar. So out of all the Mughal emperors, Babur, Jahangir, Humayun, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, there are so many emperors. But the one emperor under whom the administration flourished, and one emperor whose name we can blurt out eyes closed instantly, is Akbar the Great. Then, the great Mughals ruled over a vast empire, built up efficient and uniform administrative system, and ushered in golden age of painting under Jahangir and an impeccable form of art and architecture under Shah Jahan. In the field of administration, we can't miss out Akbar, who started the Mansabdari system, new revenue forms that served as a guideline to the British when they came in as the rulers of the country. And the last Mughal ruler was Bahadur Shah Zafar, And during his rule only, the British were already here in India. So we can see that when the British replaced the Mughal emperors, after the end of the Mughal Empire, when the British started ruling over India, they did refer to the administrative policies of the Mughal emperors, right? Now, I have referred here to art, architecture, painting, all right? So, if you are just going to turn the pages here, right, if you come to page 240, then you will see a painting of Akbar. Then if you turn to page 244, you will see again a painting of Emperor Shah Jahan. Alright, so different methods of painting were used at that point of time. In page 247, the map of India will show you, alright, the Mughal Empire. Very, very necessary to look at the map since it shows the extent of the Mughal Empire. Whatever we learned in the introduction will be clear to you if you look at the map. Next is again, if you come to, alright, page 252, from 252 onwards, there are enough images to show you the kind of, you can say, development in architecture. The Mughal architecture was developed under the several Mughal emperors. You can look at the Agra fort, the Buland Darwaza, you have the Jama Masjid, the very famous Taj Mahal, the Red Fort. All these monuments, all these buildings, they are excellent examples of Mughal architecture. So let's start with the first source, which is the N.A. Akbari. Page 236. Page 236, we have N.A. Akbari. Literary sources, it's a book. And the writer or the author of N.A. Akbari is Abu Fazl. Abu Fazl was the most celebrated scholar and historian of the Mughal period. He was the son of the famous scholar and Sufi saint Sheikh Mubarak. Abu Fazl was a very close friend of Akbar. That is why the books that he wrote has every detailed description of the administration under Akbar. He was an integral part of the Mughal administration and was one of the important advisors in Akbar's court. We all have studied about Akbar and his 9 gems, starting from Birbal and Tansin and all these things. There were 9 gems, right? And a very important advisor to Akbar was Abu Fazl. Abu Fazl's 2 important works are, one is Akbarnama and the other one is N.A. Akbari. Out of these 2 works, you are required to study only one, and we will focus on only N.A. Akbari. For your general knowledge, you can read through Akbarnama, but as of now, I am going to skip it and go to only the N.A. Akbari. Like the Akbarnama, N.A. Akbari is spread in 3 volumes. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, it has 3 volumes. It deals with the code meaning the rule of Akbar's regulation and all administrative aspects of Mughal Empire during Akbar's reign. Abu Fazl discusses in his book the theory of kingship and describes the monarch as a spiritual guide of the people. There have been a lot of movies which are based on Akbar, and one thing we know it for sure is that Akbar was very religiously tolerant person. And during his time, right, all his religious policies, his administrative policies have been recorded by Abu Fazl in the book N.A. Akbari. The code of regulation referred to the royal household, army, revenue system, mansabdar, along with other officials, and N.A. Akbari is the primary source material of Akbar's reign. So if you want to make a documentary or film on Akbar, you want to study about Akbar without getting hold of the N.A. Akbari, we won't be successful in it. So everything that we need to know about Akbar's rule in India, how was he as a king? How was he as a spiritual leader? What are the policies that he came up with, which made, right, us to realize that he was definitely Akbar the Great is mentioned in a book written by Abu Fazl, and the name of the book is Ain-e Akbari. Now let's move on to the next architectural source, which is the Jama Masjid, and with this I'll end the session also. Look at the Jama Masjid. In your textbook you will just get one-sided images, but you can just surf the internet, look up in the YouTube, you will get different other 3D images also of the Jama Masjid. I presume many of you might have also visited the Jama Masjid while you were in Delhi. So let's look at the Jama Masjid. The Jama Masjid of Delhi was built by Shah Jahan. This is the largest and the most famous mosque in India. Its construction started in 1644, was completed by 1658, and it has the following features. Why is it so famous? Why do people from all over the world want to visit Jama Masjid? It is for the following reasons. It has an open courtyard, you can see over there, alright? An open courtyard or a veranda or an open space on a very high platform. The prayer chamber is on the western side of the courtyard. The courtyard has a tank and a water reservoir also in the middle and is approached by 3 gateways. Everything is not possible to see here visually. Of course, you will just see, I told you, one-sided picture here. But if you look at the YouTube or any other internet sources, then you can see the water body, the 3 gateways. Then the entire structure is approached by a flight of steps. The exterior is surrounded by turrets and each having a dome and tall minarets. Dome, the minar, which is almost like the chhatri as we use in the Indian architecture, alright. Then the flight of stairs, platform, the turrets, these are all examples of the Mughal architecture. Then the prayer chamber is spacious quadrangle shaped room with 11 arcs. You can look at the arcs, alright, these are 11, and central arc rises above the roof. So you have the central arc, and at the side you can see these arcs which are 11 in number. The domes and minarets are inlaid with black and white horizontal lines. So this is the design that you can also see on the dome. So again, with this I would like to end the session. This is my part 1, alright. You can also check the YouTube videos, especially to look at the Jama Masjid. Thank you very much for watching.